You ready?
Okay. Well, I was born ready. I was born to be wild.
Time's up. Let's do this.
We're in for a wild night.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 200 of Born to be Wild, a wild and wild adjacent Hearthstone podcast where we have fun hanging out with friends, talking about the wild format of Hearthstone and spotlighting members of the wild community. I am your host, Nate Wolfe. It is great to be back on a beautiful Friday evening. I'm joining you from sunny Southern California. We've got an all-star lineup for you guys tonight, and so I'm really excited to be here with some amazing friends. So tonight I am joined by fellow wild Hearthstone, Born to be Wild, Into the Wild hosts of the past, the present, the future, the caverns of time here. So yeah. Hydralisk, ElectricSheepCity, Danny Donuts, Saucy Mailman, and joining us soon, hopefully, soon TM, Craig of Canada. How's it going, everybody?
Good.
Great.
Meowdy.
This is going to get a little crazy. There are between 5 and 6 of us at any given time talking, so
right. I'm a little bit rusty, but I'll do my best.
We're
all gonna try to
talk over Danny.
It was OGs and chat also. What's up, Burnt? Long time no see, man.
The goal is to talk over Danny as much as we can. So if we see his lips moving, even everyone in chat, just start spamming so we can make sure he's, talked over.
I'll raise my hand before I go every time, so you'll know.
Perfect.
I'll cue it up.
I'm just ready.
All right. For those of you joining us for the first time, welcome aboard. We record this podcast live every Friday evening at twitch.tv/born-to-be-wild-hs, and the video version of this podcast is then posted to YouTube shortly thereafter. Audio versions are also distributed to all podcast apps. However you are watching, listening, or observing via osmosis this podcast today, thank you. Yes, you.
Content plug. Schmoopiedady. Before we get into the main topic of the show, I'd like to say a quick thank you to Shokuden and the other patrons of our show. Your support means the world to us. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, and comment to this video on YouTube. Another simple way to support the show is to leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. If you're watching live on Twitch, we've also got some awesome emotes you can unlock by subscribing to the channel. This is, of course, free if you use your Amazon Prime. Finally, if you'd like to support the show financially, you can join our Patreon for as little as $1 a month. We've got some channels in the Discord that are unlocked by subscribing to the Patreon, or if you have the Podfather role, like Nate Wolfe there, by the way. But that's pretty exclusive. You can see the show come together live each week in those there channels, so check them out.
Sweet.
If you would like to interact with us personally, join that there Discord. It is a free and amazing online community of friends from all across the world who love talking about wild Hearthstone, our weeks, funny usernames, our cats, a whole bunch of stuff. So links to all of these stuff and things and more, including our merchandise, can be found on our website, which is, of course, borntobewildhs.com.
All right, so I just want to do a little bit of a rewind here, right? So episode 200, very special moment for a lot of us here, and everybody here contributed. If we want to go back, it's actually 300 episodes if we're going to go into the wild before we did Born to be Wild. So Nate Wolfe, can you tell us like the intro, like how did we start this? How did Into the Wild begin?
Well, back in my day. Okay. So this is years ago now. Many moons ago, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, Craig of Canada started a Hearthstone podcast called Into the Wild. And there was like many Hearthstone podcasts. A lot have stopped since then. All right. But there was no wild podcast. And so he started the very first like Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast. Wild exclusive, yeah, it's super cool. And that's what I was looking for, and I was wanting to do kind of the same thing. And I reached out to him, like I heard the episode, I reached out to him via Twitter, I think, or email, one or the other. Was like, oh, this is super cool. Like, I want to talk about Wild Hearthstone. Can we like maybe can I come on the show? Can I guest or whatever? Can we talk about this? It was like I kind of invited myself. And we chatted, we talked over, I think it was Skype at the time. And he's like, oh yeah. So the very first episode, I think he was talking about I want to say it was Secret Paladin or Dude Paladin or whatever.
Okay.
Was one of those where like Shielded Minibot was like the card at the time. And no, yeah, it was one of those. Right. And so I started on episode 2 of Into the Wild, and then just never, and I just like stayed.
He kept trying to kick you off, but
right.
Yeah.
So we talked to episode 2, we talked about Secret Mage, which has been around for ages, right? And we just hit it off really well. We had a lot of fun. Craig was making parody songs for every episode at the time, and that lasted for ages. And it took a long time, and he finally kind of got me to guest on a couple of those, and it really started this whole gosh, now we've got how many songs? Like 100 probably. It's crazy. And yeah, so we did Into the Wild for, gosh, I don't know, it was about a year or so, but I had work stuff come up, Craig had real life stuff come up, and it was just like, hey, we love this, but we can't do it anymore. There was a lot of real life stuff happening, and I don't remember even what at the time at this time anymore, but so we're like, all right, cool, who could do it? And we were talking like Danny Donuts and Saucy Mailman, like perfect, like you guys are awesome, and you knew the format really well and great people, and we're like, all right, cool, we could pass it off to you guys. And then we went off and kind of did our separate thing for a while. And I think you guys took the show up to episode 100, right? Because I remember being out of the loop for a little while, and Craig got me back to help do a verse on a song for episode 100, but he didn't give me any of the context. Just like, hey, sing this, like just say this, like record yourself like saying this. But like I didn't know any of the context, and so it was terrible, right? It was bad. I think I have it somewhere. I can find it if you guys want to hear it, but
You have to find it and put a Discord or something.
it's so bad. But and then I recall like listening to the song, and everyone sounds great. And I just sent my portion when he put me on, I'm like off beat. So not only was it bad, but it was like off beat as well.
Oh no!
It was so funny. It was so. I get to talk like a little bit smack on Craig since he's late. So
Yeah, he doesn't know what day it is, so whatever.
it's fine, right? I have the song here. I'll put it in chat or in our Discord, and you guys do with it what you will. There we go. You can add it to the tail end of the show or whatever. But anyways, yeah. So I don't know if you want to like we pass the mic over to Saucy and Danny for a minute, or do you want me to carry on with when we started back up with Born to Be Wild?
Yeah, no, I'd like to hear from Saucy and Danny there on like what that transition was like, and how you guys felt comfortable taking over and just like the torch being passed and doing your thing.
Go, Danny. I'll let you
Sure.
talk.
Yep, sounds good. Are you gonna interrupt?
I'm considering it.
Everyone, get in here.
Okay, so my journey started with Into the Wild all the way back. I think I guested on like episode 5 or something like that. We were talking about Naga Giants. That was my beginning to all of this. So I had been around the show. I'd guested a number of times. I always had a blast coming on the show because formerly I was on Well Met. So we had a podcast and we were talking a lot. I was the Wild representative. And so I remember that Craig and Nate both reached out to me saying, hey, we have a Wild exclusive podcast that we're working on. Do you want to come guest on for a bit? And we hit it off great in the beginning. And I guested a number of different times. we did a number of card reviews, which notoriously went extremely long.
They're
we did
so
one for
fun, though.
for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
We went through and we set a record every single time. I think the first one we did was like 4 hours, and we're like, oh my god, we took so long. Then we had like Raffle and Get Me Out. We took 6 hours, and then we kept going on more and more and more. I remember around, it was like episode 50 or so, Saucy reached out to me because Saucy actually got in a little first before me. You got there. You're the early adopter in this, but we hopped on and we took over the show when Nate and Craig were taking their break, and then we moved forward and just picked up and continued with the torch. It was a lot of fun, a lot of really cool wild decks that happened, and it was nice to have for me at least, it was nice to have the two podcasts going on at the same time for Well Met, where I could go through and be more like system based and have the other perspectives, and then come to the wild show.
Yeah. No, yeah, and same thing. Like I knew, Nate and Craig just from being on the show a bunch of times, and like I can't remember if we did, because we did a bunch of tournaments, and I don't remember if I did casting before I was on the show or not, but we did like a bunch of community tournaments, and I did the
Wild League. I remember that. Yeah,
we did the Wild League for a bit. But like, it's funny. So I was full-time streaming wild content on Twitch, was like my job at the time. And podcasting, whenever I'd get on the show, it was kind of like my therapy session, because it's like I could actually talk with people in the community, and like we could corroborate together of like, secret mage yet again, and like just kind of like feel each other and like give each other digital hug, which was always nice. And like, I don't know, podcasting for me has always been my favorite form of content creation. Even when I was like streaming full time on YouTube and Twitch, like that was my job, but my passion was always getting to do podcasts. So I remember the night that Nate hit me up if I wanted to be on the show. I'm sitting in a car dealership. I'm buying a Mazda. I'm getting ready to sign the papers, and he's messaging me, and I'm there with my wife. I'm actually buying the car for her, and I'm like, you've got to finish this transaction. I've got an important call to take. And I'm talking to Nate about taking over the Wild podcast. So I fully leave her with the car dealer. I'm like, you two got this, right? And I like step off to go talk about the podcast. And
priorities. Yeah. I'm glad you get priorities straight.
Yep, exactly. Like, you handle this. That's the car. I don't care. I'm talking wild Hearthstone.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking back real quick. We had just at the guest spots that we had, one thing that I forgot to bring up is that we tried really hard to have a guest every single episode if we could.
Yep.
And so just looking back here, a handful of them: Reganis Prime, Danny Donuts, Spivey, Jonah Raw, Get Me Out, Ziggy, Concerned Mom, Ridiculous Hat, let's see, Raw Johnston, Wololo, Cream Puff, Raffle, Dab, let's see, Danny again, Slizzle, we had Adam from Tier 5, High Lung, Jellycat, Shocky, Reno Jackson we had on like right around when he did the Wild Open. What's that?
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Saucy Mailman, Wild Card, Taylor Eve, MTG Squirrel, Doin. We had Andrew, Zeddy. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot. Yeah. It was super cool.
Yeah,
it was
that brings back some great memories.
Right? Oh man.
Yeah, and like that's
Memnarch, Memnarch, of course.
It's so good.
And, good times.
And podcasting is
gosh.
like, it's a medium like that. Like it's always just so social, and like the community around podcasting is so awesome. And like you just don't get that with other forms of content creation, because like, when you're streaming on Twitch, you can't sit there and chill with your buds and talk, Hearthstone. And so all of the awesome guests, and the most memorable stuff was always the card reviews, like we were talking about. Like, it literal an entire day. I'm like, all right, card review time. I'm door dashing my meals. Like, I'm not getting out of this chair 10 to 12 hours. We're going to deeply review these cards that no one will ever play, but we'll talk about why. We're going to tell you why for hours.
We would even jump into the artwork. I remember if Nate
Yes!
ever got into talking
I did the
about
artwork too, Liz.
you knew,
Yep.
you knew the card was going there.
You know, the card is trash. If the art is really good.
Yeah. But let's talk about the art for another hour. Yeah, so good, dude.
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, good times. I remember when I left, Craig like had like some special song and had a bunch of people like record messages. Like I kind of like teared up. It was that was special, man. Good times. It's good to see everybody. Like I know you don't usually interact with chat, but there's a lot of the like old friends here as well, and so it's just super cool to like the nostalgia factor is it's heavy tonight. Memnarch and Burnt are here. It's just super cool, man. So
it's dope.
Yeah, it's great to see him.
Yeah, so you guys did a similar thing that we're doing now for episode 100, right? So
Yep.
For that anniversary, it was both Saucy, Danny, and then Nate and Craig. You guys both came on, right?
Yeah.
yeah, I think, and I don't remember. Like lives get busy, you know. Things happen, new jobs, moving, family, all this stuff, and like I don't remember what was going on. I think we were Hearthstone kind of goes through ups and downs, right? And sometimes we play a lot, sometimes we don't play very much. And I, for whatever reason, like I think you guys would know better, but I remember you guys were, I think, at a point where you guys weren't going to do the show anymore or whatever, and we were like, all right, well, we could like I just remember Craig reaching out to me, and he was like, what do you think? Like I got a call kind of out of the blue, and Craig's in Canada, I was in Oregon at the time, and he's like, hey, what do you think? I'll never forget, because I was at my kid was at like a friend's birthday party, and I was just standing around, and I was like the same thing, right? I was like talking to one of the parents, and like my phone rings, and it's Craig calling me from Canada. I was like, I'm sorry, it's a really important phone call, I gotta take it.
Yeah, always.
And Craig's like, what do you think about like starting up the podcast again? I was like, I'm down, let's do it. Like it wasn't even a question, right? Like I had the itch. And I remember we started it back up, and this is so fun. We try to do the same thing, right, with guest spots and stuff. And early on, right, that was like right when we started, we were doing the guest spot thing again, and some all-star lineups. And then I remember, like, I think we were 5 episodes deep. Like we had just started, and Craig calls me. He's like, "Yeah, I got a lot of stuff going on, man. I think I'm gonna do it." I was like, what?
Yeah.
We just started. Like we just started. But I don't know, man. Craig is such a character. I love him.
Yep.
He's great. I think that we wouldn't be here without him for sure. And one thing I'll have to sing his praises a little bit with these parody songs. Like anytime I would do one, I'd have to think about it for like hours and write it and record it and mix it and do all the stuff.
Yeah.
And like it would just take forever. And then when Craig would do it, so I'd ask him like, "Oh, hey, did you do the song for the show yet?" And he's like, "Oh crap, I forgot." I'm like, "Dude, we're supposed to record in like 45 minutes." He's like, "Oh, it's cool, I'll do it right now." And he'd jump on, record it in one take, and be like, "Oh, here you go." And they'd always be like,
bangers,
like
and he
really
did so
good.
many of them too.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing, where it was the consistency, where you can do that once or twice maybe, but he was consistently putting out banger after banger,
right, all the time. I think a couple of my favorites though were there's a couple of them that made it to YouTube. I think all the songs are
Dear
on the
Iskar?
website, but like
Dear Iskar is my
Dear
favorite
Iskar?
one,
Yeah.
Hands down.
was
So
great. And I'll never forget because we tagged him in it and he responded to it. He's like, all right. These comments about Secret Rage are getting out of hand. And it was so funny. Oh man, it was great. Yeah, he has such a wide range of songs. He do rap, he do country, he do like Queen and ABBA and like just whatever. It was great. Miley Cyrus, he's got a pretty good range there. So I think we carried on the tradition after Craig left. I was like, man, we kind of started this thing back, and I don't want to not do it. Like we should do parody songs. And I think I must have done 20 or 30 of them after that. It was just insane. On my computer here, I've got, these are just the new ones, about 50.
Jeez, yeah.
That's crazy. And those are the Born to Be Wild ones.
I think it was funny when we realized that we were just doing Green Day songs over and over again at a certain point because they were easy.
Easiest to write. The Green Day ones are the easiest to write. They're so easy because like the lyrics are just simple, right? You could replace it, just find something that rhymes. And Wild Cowboy, I think, was one of my favorite. I don't know, man. There's so many good ones. And then gosh, we just a bunch of fun things. We got into some fun habits. We started doing these, like, I don't know what you call them, like lore episodes, right? Like story time with Goliath, and those were just amazing. I always love learning about the story behind the cards. And then Goliath would always hit me up like, "Hey, you guys gonna do another song? You guys gotta do another song." I'm like, man, you can't. The thing is, like, when inspiration hits, you can do a song. Like, I got an idea, and it's like, all right, cool, I can make a parody song out of this. And it doesn't happen all that often. And Goliath was like, I really miss the songs. And I was like, well, I mean, they're cool, but like, I don't have any, like, I'm fresh out of ideas. He's like, all right, how about I'll do a song and I'll give it to you guys and you guys can play it. And how many has he recorded now? Probably a dozen, maybe more.
He does it still constantly.
Like,
yeah.
They're so good. And his are like next level. Like, the writing is like impeccable.
He spends time on it for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so fun, man. The memories. Congrats on 200 episodes, you guys. We've seen a lot of Hearthstone podcasts like come and go over the years because it's really hard to keep something going for this long. And there's a handful that still have. Sometimes we see them change hands over the years and stuff like that. But yeah, I think so. Is Born to Be Wild like the current, like, long-standing Wild podcast?
It is currently the only standing.
Well, there we go.
I guess Draw Last technically still does, but I haven't seen them put anything out in a few months either. So
I got another here. I got one other story I can give you guys. That's kind of fun.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure you all heard it before, but so for like a minute there, that website, there's a website called Cameo, right, where you can pay money to like a celebrity to like say what you want them to say, endorse your product or whatever. And so Aramorn has been following the show forever, really good friend of the show, patron of the show, always hanging out in chat, always like in the Discord and everything. And as a surprise gift, like, paid Ben Brode to do a cameo for the show. And when Ben Brode did it, what he said, like, he did a couple of takes, but one of the takes is so funny. He goes, "This is Ben Brode, and you're watching Born to Be Wild." He goes, "The first and best Hearthstone podcast." And then he did it was like, "The first and only Hearthstone podcast." Like, what are you talking about, man?
The only podcast in existence.
It was like, he either said like the first and the best or something like that. It was funny. It's so great, man. And then over the years, we've kind of spliced it together a little bit. It's been a lot of fun. Good times.
Yeah, buddy.
Hey, Craig. Wait, Craig is here. Craig, welcome to the show. Craig of Canada, everybody.
Welcome, everyone, to Born to Be Wild, a Hearthstone podcast, the longest running Wild exclusive Hearthstone podcast on the information superhighway. I was your host, Craig of Canada, and I'm just on time.
Always just on time. Perfect.
Oh God, I'm so embarrassed. I didn't know we were. I thought we were just doing the song. I was at Friday Night Magic, and I'm like, who's calling me from Oregon?
That's so good, dude.
Nate, did you not change your cell phone number from Oregon to California yet?
No, I'm in California now, but I kept my cell phone number. Oh, man.
I recognize the sultry voice, but I don't know who it is. What time did you guys start at? Did you guys just start?
An hour ago.
This is embarrassing for me. This is embarrassing.
Well,
I
Craig,
get it.
if you,
That's what counts.
That's right.
Craig,
Born to be Wild
if-
never started on time. It's all good, man.
yeah. So we were already late, and then you were extra late. So no, it's all good. But if you don't mind, do you want to just give us some of like your thoughts on when you started the podcast, where your head was at, like why you wanted to do that, why you picked the Silver Fox to be your co-host, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So I just wanted a wild podcast because no one was doing it, and I always liked the idea of wild podcasts. So I was like, all right. Or sorry, I always loved the idea of doing a podcast. So I was like, all right, I'll do it. Wait, can you guys still hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh, thank God. Thank God. Sorry, I'm on my phone. It's awkward. So I decided to record one by myself, and I got to tell you, it was not very good. Like, it wasn't very bad, but it wasn't very good. And then Tell from Top Deck Kings at the time, I think Cream Puff ended up taking over that one. He actually reached out and said, like, oh, this guy Nate Wolfe wants to do a podcast. So I said, I'll take a shot on him. And basically, we fell in love. And next thing you know, we're doing a podcast for a good 40, 50 episodes before we give it up. And then we said, let's come back and let's redo it again with Born to be Wild. And then I gave that one up, and then Nate gave it up. So me and Nate, what we do best is we start the first or longest running podcast, and then we give it away.
Yeah.
I mean, Nate lasts a lot longer than I do with Born to be Wild, but I don't know. I think I got 14 episodes into Born to be Wild, and yeah, that's kind of what we do. Yeah. See, I think the thing for me is I really romanticize the idea of the show because I really do love it. It's so much fun. But then editing sucks. And like the pressure of making a new parody song every week, while fun, kind of like it really did add pressure, which is crazy because it's just a stupid little song. And some of them, though, I put in like a lot of effort, and some of them I put in very little effort. Like the song today, I probably put about 5 minutes in before I wrote it, and you guys helped edit it a little bit, thank God. But I don't know, man. The thing is it's so much fun talking to you guys. Like hearing Saucy Mailman's voice right now, it's such a beautiful thing, you know. And I wish that I could. If it was up to me, I would do a podcast like every 2 months, you know.
Yeah.
So Craig gave a bit of a spoiler there. We will be showcasing a new song at the end of the show.
Oh, my
So
bad.
stay
my bad.
tuned. No, it's better now. People have something to look forward to.
Now we got him on the hook. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
And as far as favorite memories go, one of my favorite memories in the world is when me and Nate decided to reboot Born to be Wild, or start Born to be Wild, and we decided to like get the band here with like a not a cryptic, but like a we basically did a little music video. Such a bad little music video.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, that was so bad but so good at the same time.
Oh, I remember I was at work and like I couldn't, like I got nothing done that day because all I was doing was refreshing formerly known as Twitter to freaking see like, oh my God, I got 57 likes. I was so excited. It was so fun.
So good.
Oh man. Or when XR retweeted the Stan
DXR
parody.
song. Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
my
we were talking
favorite
about that one.
parody. Yeah.
Like
That
that
was
was
good.
probably one of my proudest ones, you know.
I
It was so fun.
remember being at work and getting like pinged on Discord and be like, Nate, you need to call me right now. I was like, bro, I'm at work. Like, it's important. Call me right now. And so I like go out in the hallway, I call like, oh, all right, what's up, man? He's like, all right, I need you to say this. And it was just these like little 1 or 2 lines from one of the Eminem songs. It was the Conscious song, right? With Dr. Dre.
Oh yeah, Guilty Conscious.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that one's lost.
I have it. No, man, I have all these. I have so many of them.
We should send them in so they can get them on the YouTube channel. Because I go to I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people get sick of hearing their own voice and they're like, oh, I can't hear myself on podcasts. Not me, man. I play the parody songs all the time.
Craig every day goes on, listens to all his own songs. Like, yeah, this was me. I did this.
I swear.
Dude,
My wife gets so mad because I'll invite people. We'll have all our friends over, and I'll be like, "Oh, I got to show you something." And I'll play like Stan, or I'll play like I'll play one or two of the parody songs. She gets so mad.
We got most of them up on the website. There's like at least 50 of them up on the website.
Oh, it's so fun! Like, and then even some of the ones that you guys did without me, like Nate's. What's the one that I love? The Billie Eilish one.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The bad guy one, the mage guy. Yeah.
Oh yeah. That one's pretty good.
But, yeah.
We had some bangers. I think my favorite, Craig, was your oh god, it was when we had Reno Jackson. I love that one. I wish I had if I had a Reno Jackson. Yeah.
Yeah.
That one and Wild Cowboys. Wild Cowboys is my all-time favorite.
Yeah, that's good.
That one was really good. Well, Crack a Bottle too with Mike Lowe. No,
yeah. You got it. We had some good ones, man.
Oh yeah, it was so fun. Like a lot of these listeners are probably like, "What are they talking about?" But go on the YouTube, guys, and hear some of these gems from back in the day. Oh, and then the 100th episode of was it of Into the Wild?
Yeah.
Where it was me, Saucy, Mailman, Danny Donuts, and Nate Wolfe. We did forget what song it was now, but it was so much fun. I would walk 100 miles.
Oh, that one.
It was, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that's.
I'm so sorry, guys, if my microphone quality is terrible.
It is. It's trash, but that's okay.
I knew it.
Microphone quality's trash. Voice quality, gold.
Very good.
That's
Very
good. Okay, well then let me leave. I want to leave you guys because I don't want the listeners to hear a cell phone the whole time.
It's because he's in the middle of a magic game. He's like, hold on, I need to go ask a judge question, step away from the table, and he's been on our podcast.
I need a ruling. A ruling.
For the listeners, magic is like Hearthstone, but for adults. No, I'm kidding.
Craig.
Oh, wow.
Craig,
wise words were never spoken.
Before you go, Craig, so we're just going to sort of move on into like what is everyone doing now, right? Because not everyone's on the show still. So I just was wondering if you could just sort of give an update on, like what are you doing now, man?
Yeah, for sure. So I got married last year, which was pretty cool. Got a pretty cool wife. Thank you. And as long as we're congratulating me, I got a little baby boy on the way.
Woo!
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Dad of Canada. All right, man.
We're working on names. We're thinking maybe either Saucy Mailboy.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah. Nate is a pretty good name.
Danny Munchkin in there.
Yeah.
I like that. I really like that. Like, well, instead of Danny Donuts, we were thinking like because he's a baby, like Danny Donut Holes. You know?
Yeah.
Zappy Lambtown is taken. Zappy Lambtown is taken. I'm sorry. I know you were really.
I was gonna go with
your heart set on that one.
I was gonna go with Danny Timbits, but only
I was gonna say Danny Timbits is what I said. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got a baby boy on the way, and married. We bought a house. It's been a really good couple years. Way too busy for to be doing this thing that I freaking loved doing so much. So I just want to say thank you to all the listeners that keep this thing going, because nothing makes me smile more than when I update my podcast feed on either Sunday or Monday or whatever when you guys upload, and it's nice. Like, I don't listen to every episode, I'll be honest, but I listen from time to time, especially to the ones where you guys do the lore, because then I don't really need to know anything about the meta. And let's be honest, for this show, it's not as much about the meta anymore. It's more about just laughing our asses off.
Yeah.
It is really nice. So let me leave you with this. Nate, you're a treasure.
Aww.
Sweetest thing that's ever happened to me. Saucy Mailman, I can't wait to try your coffee. I swear I will be ordering some. You do ship to Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, wonderful. I've been telling my wife that we have to try it. Danny Donuts, I will have a donut with that coffee in your honor.
Ooh.
Word.
Hydra, I will play a green creature with X in its cost in Magic for you. Those are Hydras. And Electric Sheep City, I will keep all the lights on tonight.
I'm honored.
Oh, so nice of you. So nice of you.
Oh,
And for
dude.
everyone else, screw you if you never liked me. Okay. I love you guys.
We love you too, Craig.
Happy 200.
Later, buddy.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Craig. All right, Nate Wolfe, how are you now?
I'm doing great. I have to tell you. So when I left the show, it was a really rough time because, like, I mean, I think, like I was saying, kind of interest in games. Sometimes they kind of ebb and flow, right? And I hadn't been playing a ton, but then I got laid off my job, and it was just super stressful because, like, I'm the breadwinner at home. Like, it's me and my wife and my kid, but like I'm the one who works and pays the bills and all that stuff. And I got laid off, and it took like 4 months to find a job, and that was just super stressful. I had a bunch of issues with my unemployment. Like, I didn't get any because it was all jacked up because we had moved between California and Oregon, and there were just a bunch of issues. And so I was just sweating bullets. It was a rough time. And it was like, you know what? I need to focus 100% on this job search. Like, I just can't. And but no, everything is great, man. I got a new job. It's really good. I'm actually like better job than I had, making more money with less stress. It's like couldn't be in a better spot right now. So
Well deserved.
it's great. It's great. I'll be honest, like it's been a minute since I touched Hearthstone. I'm getting the itch, I get the itch every once in a while. And I don't know. I still have like a bunch of golden cards, like a huge giant golden collection. So,
Yep.
and a bunch of dust that I could probably craft whatever. But yeah, I've been trying to kind of focus on like the family, really hanging out with my wife, hanging out with my kid, trying to get in better shape a little bit, going bike riding and all of that stuff. But playing a little bit of games. I played a ton of Diablo 4, beat it a few times, and I'm like kind of done with it now. But and then doing a bunch of Marvel Snap. It's kind of been my current thing. It's wizard poker, but with comic books. So
Yep.
the thing I like about it, the games are super short. The collection system is trash. It's really
Yes,
bad.
it is.
It's really bad. But I've been reading comic books since I was a little kid, since I was like 9 years old or something. And so I know all the stories behind all the characters. I'm a kind of Marvel nerd. And so the IP, like they had me, right? And so the game is fun. I think what I really like about it is like the games are super short. Win or lose, like it's like 3 minutes. And so it's easy to play on the phone or the iPad. Like we do a podcast. It's me and Blue Train and Zombies Go Nom Nom. We do actually host it on this channel called Born to Be Cosmo. Just silly. It's a dog, right? Dog from the game. But the thing that I love about it is like we record when we want to, which is like twice a month. So it's great. Like it's kind of that best of both worlds because it's like every 2 to 3 weeks we'll record an episode, talk for a couple hours, and then revisit it in a few weeks. And so it's kind of it scratches that itch. I love hanging out with friends and talking about video games. But yeah, man, I don't know. Everything is good, but I miss you guys, and so it's really great to be back and talking. Like it feels like I never left. So
you're telling me the guy who's got a shrine of Marvel goodies behind him, a Captain America shield and a Thor hammer, like that, you like Marvel?
Those are all Legos. Those
Yeah.
are all Legos too. Oh man. Yeah.
For those audio listeners, behind Nate is a gorgeous Captain America shield that I can just see behind him, and I see
There's a Black
Mjolnir.
Panther and a Mjolnir. The cool thing, you can't see it because it's like above me up here, but there's another a whole shelf, and it's got all the busts on it. So
Oh, nice.
Star-Lord, Iron Man, Venom, Carnage, the Spider-Man. I've got Rocket and Groot and all that. It's super fun, man. I love these. They're really expensive, but they're
Yeah.
but they're really fun. Been holding off on buying that Hulkbuster because it's like $400 and I just can't stomach it. But one of these days.
Yeah.
I always look at your collection and Sheep's collection with the Marvel stuff, and while it's impressive, I'm like, I can't do it.
You know what? It's like tattoos, man. It's an addiction, right? You get it, and you're like,
Once
all
you
right,
start,
cool.
you never end.
Like, all right, I'm ready to get another one. I've been really trying to limit it to like the busts because they only come out with like 1 or 2 a year, and it's like, all right, cool. I can spend $80 like twice a year. Like that's
Yeah.
okay. If I can stick to that, then I'll be all right. I'm trying to not buy all the other ones. I'm not
Twitch.
because I don't like them. I know, right? Like for I don't know whatever the last holiday was. Like my wife bought me one of the little like mech ones. You know, it's like the Hulk in the mech armor, and I was like, why did you do that? She's like, you don't like it. I'm like, no, then I gotta go buy the rest of them. But I've been pretty good. I'm trying to like cut back a little bit. But I still have a bunch of Hearthstone stuff as well. I got this. Look at this. I got this giant gold Ragnaros here. It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Oh,
Rad.
cool. Is that light rag or?
No, it's it's golden, but it's this World of Warcraft 15-year anniversary. It was like they gave it to the employees, and then some employees sold theirs on eBay, and I bought it. So yeah, no, life's good, man. I really can't complain. Everything is good. Kids grow fast, and my cats just turned 6, I think. So I don't know, but life is good, man. I can't complain at all.
Oh, that's awesome. All right, Danny Donuts. How are you
All
doing?
right, yes. Yeah, things are going well. As for right when I stopped playing, I stopped playing Hearthstone. My career was really picking up. So as now, I'm currently running a couple of software teams. I work at a defense contractor. So I run a number of software teams. I've done some international stuff. Can't really go too in detail on it, or I have to kill everyone on the podcast. So I'm gonna stay away from that. But I've been playing a lot of other games. I went through a very, very big TFT phase where I got to Masters every season, played in a number of LAN events, went to some pretty nice events, and didn't end up qualifying for Worlds or anything along those lines. But I was in contention, so had a lot of fun doing that. As of recently, been playing some Balatro. Balatro's any roguelike now I've been picking up, but Balatro is my just go-to chill game to have going on. But yeah, for me, things are going well, and it's good to bring back some old Hearthstone memories.
Yeah. It's funny because we stopped doing the Hearthstone podcast, and then I was also playing a lot of TFT. So I was one of the heads of esports for Runeterra because I moved over to Runeterra as a content creator.
Oh man, your videos were so good, and the thumbnails, you got the best thumbnails I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
so
man.
we did this...
Well, and your fingernails are good too.
The ones that aren't just as dumb are also.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah. So I was doing this like Riot Invitational it was like a bunch of Riot employees and me playing TFT together. And I played the game like I played Wild. I played it for fun and casual and joke and memes. So I was doing all these meme comps, but I was like, oh, if I need to win. So I hit up Danny. I'm like, what's the meta actually like? Can you be my coach? So he's like teaching me all those strats and stuff in the background. Like, can I just force Nasus every game? He's like, no, don't do that if you want to win. I'm like, I think I'm going to do it anyways. That's funny.
Like, hey, you want to start a TFT podcast?
Yeah. I think we talked about it briefly.
We thought about that for a bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's addicting. Oh, you know what? I was telling somebody the other day, one of my favorite podcasts was Geek Aid.
Oh, Geek Aid!
I'm not joking, man. I loved Geek Aid. I loved it.
Oh, that's a cut. Oh, yeah, that was Rod Johnston and we had a buddy, Geeksay, who used to be a Hearthstone guy as well. Another Canadian. That's how him and I bonded. And he moved over to Escape from Tarkov. Now he's like a really successful Tarkov guy. But all three of us, we were doing, Hearthstone is like our main jobs. And we wanted to have a podcast that had nothing to do with gaming. So we did like a comedy pop culture podcast that was just for fun. Like we didn't really advertise it much. And it was like kind of our pet project. But it was just like, let's do it until we're too busy to do it kind of a thing. But it was fun. That was a good time.
Yeah, that was fun.
All right. Well, Saucy, I guess it's your turn now.
Life is crazy, dudes. Like things are awesome. Just like everyone said, like things are good, but just insane. So yeah, when I stopped playing Hearthstone, I moved over. I was did Resident of Runeterra full time, and I ended up doing their esports broadcasting. So I was the guy on air that was hosting all the tournaments. Blah blah blah. It was super fun. But I got burnt out from streaming full time. For anyone who doesn't know, like Twitch streaming and YouTubing full time, it just like it's awesome. Like I'm not gonna complain about the job. It was a good time, but it's like it takes your hobby and when it becomes your career, it's tough. So like gaming became the thing I did for work and I couldn't do gaming for fun. So it made it hard. So I quit streaming a few years ago and now I started a coffee company. So now I roast coffee is what I do. And it's been awesome, but just like it's a whole new world because I don't have experience like selling products. Like I'm a guy behind a camera that plays video games. That's what I've done forever. So it's a whole new world. But yeah, I started a tabletop role playing game themed coffee company called Dragon Roast Coffee, and now I supply caffeine to nerds, and it's awesome.
The artwork is on point. I love it. It's so cute.
Yeah, it's awesome because like when you do content creation, you meet all these cool people. So my artist, her name is Soren. She was my YouTube channel artist. So she did like all of my headers and she did all my like emotes on Twitch and all that. I was like, hey, theoretically, like if I were to start a coffee company, like could you do the artwork? She's like, say no more, fam, and like she killed it. She's awesome.
Yeah. It's on point. I mean, that's what we had done with Born to Be Wild is use the same artist like for everything over and over and over. And like you get to know them and work with them. And once you can get on the same page with like art direction, it's amazing. Some of the stuff that they can pull out. So
yeah, it's and like this is a whole new. So I launched the coffee company only like a few months ago. It's something I've been working on for about 5 years and just like in the background, and I was like roasting as a hobby, blah blah blah. But like now that it's transitioned into like a real thing, it's scary now because like everything is so expensive for one, and now we're hitting convention season, so I'm going to a convention every month. So like I'm driving everywhere with thousands of pounds of coffee in a trailer, like going to all these events.
Wow.
And it's scary, but it's like, yeah, it's cool. But I was joking with some friends the other night. I'm like, I think they're like, oh, what do you do? Like, how's business going? I'm like, all I do is write checks. I just spend money every week. That's all I do. Like it's my job is to just pay other people everything. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Are you drinking your own coffee right now?
No, I was joking, but before we started, like I had just finished a cup, and it's 8 p.m. my time here, so I'm like I need to drink some herbal tea. So I have this is throat coat tea because I knew I'd be talking a bunch, so I don't lose my voice because I'm at a convention tomorrow for like 7 hours, so I need to talk to everyone on the planet. So I need a voice tomorrow.
That's got to be probably a great scene for it, though, right? Because your marketing is aimed towards like that RPG style, and like who doesn't like coffee, right? So
yeah.
And whenever us nerds who grew up on energy drinks realize that that's terrible for our stomach, we pivot to coffee.
Exactly. And like that's what's cool is I'm going to like all the convention I'm going to are like gaming cons. Like I'll be at PAX West, which will be a cool one. And then I'm going to like a Comic Con in Arizona next month, and so all the like tabletop and Comic Cons and all that because it's my nerdy intersection of coffee and gaming is like, oh, it's two things I love. Let's just make them get together and hang out.
That's awesome.
So that's all I do now. I hide in my shop, roast coffee all day, and then talk to people on podcasts at night.
Write checks, yeah,
and dude, it's crazy. Like pulling back the veil for anyone who cares. Like coffee equipment is insanely expensive. I'm in the process of buying a new roaster, and it's over 30 grand. Like
what?
Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, like I just had to buy a new grinder because I'm supplying coffee to a bunch of gaming stores now, and most of them get ground coffee. So like I needed a big industrial grinder, $2 grand for a coffee grinder. Like it's crazy, it's stupid.
We don't have our own grinder, so whenever I order it,
Yeah,
Mine'll be here on Saturday.
nice.
I know that it's been ground by
By my big, huge,
2000.
overpriced grinder. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's like, why is when people ask me like, why is coffee so expensive? I'm like, just to make it like it 30 grand for a roaster, dudes.
Dude, it's crazy though. When we went to Hawaii a couple few years back, we're on the Big Island, and they grow coffee there,
Yeah.
right? And like they were talking through how like they get the beans off of the trees, and like it's a huge process. It's crazy that you can get something to drink out of these little red beans, like, right? It's crazy.
Yeah. If anyone wants to talk nerdy coffee science, hit me up on Twitter or Discord. Like, I'm such a nerd about this stuff, and that's why I like started to get into roasting, because it's just like it is the nerdiest thing. Like, it's all so much math and like science, and it's insanely nerdy. So if you want to talk coffee nerdery, I'm always around.
Nice.
Have you considered a coffee podcast?
No, I don't want to. I'm trying. It's so funny because, like, even right now, as we're doing this, I've had 3 people message me on Discord, like, "Oh, are you getting back into content creation?" And I'm like, "No, I am not." It's the other thing is like I work. It's starting a business is crazy, and while I'm also running another business that I'm trying to get out of, so I don't care about it. But I'm working like I think we're on like 70 some days in a row without a day off, and it's just insane. Like I'm working like 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. I'm doing coffee, and then I take an hour break, and then 6 p.m. to like 10 p.m. I do my other job, and it's so much. So no, I'm not doing any more content for the foreseeable future.
Happy you're here though. I'm glad you can.
I'll guest on other people's stuff all day long. Like anytime, all of you nerds want to chill, I'm in. But I just don't want to do my own thing.
Right? It's so
when
crazy.
Is that hour break so that we can hang out?
Yeah, exactly.
It's crazy being on the other side. Like, it's so easy to just show up and be here and chat, and I don't have to be pressing buttons and switching screens and like toggling stuff. Like, it's great, man. I love it.
Yeah, like Hydralisk had to do all this work and get an overlay set up and stuff, and I just get to show up and be an idiot. I love it.
Right? Yeah, actually, you were talking about the whole nerd thing. So earlier, I went to the store, and we were joking about my born to be wild toque, right? And so I didn't realize it, but I had worn it to a store, and the clerk said, "Born to be wild." What's that mean? Like, you trying to advertise that you're crazy? And I was like, "Oh no!" Like,
as a matter of fact,
I didn't realize I was wearing that. Yeah, like, sorry. And she's like, "Well, what does that mean?" And I said, "Oh, it's a podcast." And she's like, "Oh, well, by whom?" And I was like, "Well, by
me."
Me?
Yeah.
And then she's like, "Oh, can I have your autograph?" And I was like, "No."
We're not that cool.
I was like, we're not. No, it's not worth it. You should probably just. It's fine.
$50. I love the logo, and it is a great looking toque. So, good stuff.
It is a great looking toque.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. You could buy them on the internet.
BornToBeWildHS.com. The link to our merchandise store is there.
See, I was setting up the plug for you.
Right? All right. So we talked a lot about the history, and maybe we'll get into, like where Hearthstone is currently at.
I'm excited to talk about that, because it's like, when I was driving home from running errands, and I was thinking about like all of the last times I'd play Wild, because I play an insane amount of Battlegrounds. Like, I'd play every single day, so my collection is stacked. Like, I have so many coins, I have so many card packs. So like, even talking in chat, I see like we're seeing Pirate Rogue is good, and I loved Pirate Rogue, so I'm like, oh, maybe like I have so much materials I could be playing like any of the stuff. So I'm excited.
Some quality of life improvements too. You've got all these card packs, right?
Yeah.
There's now the mass pack opening. You just hold on to
really?
it, and then you can drag over. I think it's like 40 something packs at a time and just like open them all at once without having to like click every
Yeah.
single one of them. Yeah.
Like, I remember like pack opening streams, like for new sets would take like 5 hours to just get through cards.
Classic thing that would happen too is you would buy the
all the time.
At every expansion, there was someone who would buy the wrong packs, and
every time.
More gadgets in packs. Let's go.
Or how about the person who bought them on the wrong server more than once?
That's rough, dude.
That
That's
was
rough.
funny.
It's funny because like people would always ask me like, "Oh, do you play on EU and Asia servers?" And I would tell them like, "No, like one, I can't afford to spend that much money there, but I also don't want to buy the wrong packs because I know people such as you who have done this." It's like that's scary. That's
another point of failure.
yeah. That's rough, dude.
Yeah, no, I remember my wife being like, "Really, you did it again?"
Three strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
And you didn't even record a parody song about it. Hydra, missed opportunity.
Failed.
Interesting. I should remember to do that for the future.
Welcome to the news. The news is so good.
There was over 30 standard buffs and debuffs. We're not going to talk about standard because this is a wild podcast, but
yeah,
there was wild balance updates. So let's get into that.
Absolutely. So the standard ones that affected our format, well, I'll kind of dip our toes into that one a little bit first. So Reno Lone Ranger. Reno was a neutral hero card. It was 8 mana. And if your deck contains no duplicates, so, Reno style, you just completely clear your opponent's board. No death rattles go off. Nothing like that. Just poofs them away. And it's high noon, so your opponent can only have one minion slot on their board the next turn because it's high noon. They changed Reno Lone Ranger, so now it's no longer if your deck contains no duplicates, but people were running Reno in a lot of duplicate heavy decks instead. So they changed it to be if your deck had no duplicates at the start of the game. So if you, like Beneath the Ground stuff into your opponent's deck, doesn't matter. If it started with no duplicates, it's going to go off anyway.
Oh, okay.
But they also debuffed, nerfed it to be 9 mana instead. So it's a little slower now too. That's going to impact our format a lot. It already has. The more you know.
Yeah.
The next
what the heck does elusive mean?
So elusive is the one, where it can't be targeted by spells or hero powers. It's now elusive.
Like Fairy Dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dragons, Timewinder's Zarimi is another standard card that in Wild got a nerf. So it was a 5 mana 4/4, and only required 5 other dragons.
Oh,
now
snap.
it requires 8 other dragons. But the thing is, the battle cry, once you've played these other dragons, once per game, they have the technology. Once per game, if you've summoned, it was 5, now it's 8 other dragons, take an extra turn. So basically, the quest mage reward, only once.
You get to choose when you take it?
Yeah. It's only whenever you play Timewinder Zarimi. So it's,
I'm glad they have the tech for the once a turn. That was a big mistake that they had back in the day, and I think that they learned that from MTG, right? Magic came out with the once per turn. If anyone's playing Thunder Junction right now, like every single card says if you committed a crime, but only do it once this turn. So it's nice to see that they're learning from other games as well.
Yep.
Most definitely. And people were getting this out super early. People were in Wild using it to do Divine Spirit Inner Fire stuff.
Me.
A lot was using it to do Divine Spirit Inner Fire stuff.
like a lot. Like every day.
Things changed. It's the same old meta that we left.
Yeah, perfect.
But now you've got 2 turns to do it in. So, one more change to standard. So Treasure Distributor, 1 mana, 1/2. Whenever you play another pirate, give it +1 attack. They buffed it so that it's now every time whenever you play a pirate, give it and this +1 attack. So kind of like Undertaker style. But it's not only affecting the Undertaker, Treasure Distributor, but it's also affecting the other pirate that you played. So if you play like a Saucy deckhand, it's not a 2/1, it's a 3/1. Which is pretty neat too.
Oh, wow.
It's going in like everything.
Yeah, that seems good.
So Saucy, you mentioned you like Pirate Rogue.
I do, yeah.
Guess what's really strong right about Meow?
I mean, yeah, I'm looking
Right?
at it, and I'd play that. Dang, that's fire.
No, it's
Yeah,
nuts.
buddy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They play it in Pirate Rogue. They play it in Aggro Priest. Aggro Priest is a very real thing, and I don't know if Dark Bishop Benedictus was around whenever y'all were turning in your badge and gun. But it changes your hero power to deal 2 damage instead
Yeah.
of heal. Yeah, okay.
The
You're
old
aware.
shadow
You're-
form.
Yeah. So now the really exciting stuff.
Give me the spice.
Time
the
Warp.
spice?
You know, the Open the Waygate, the Quest Mage reward. Y'all, we have the technology now. It's once per game.
That's
you
great.
can't
Yeah,
do
that's
it
huge.
again and again and again and again. Nope, once per game.
Finally, because yeah, that is infuriating. Hate that card. Hate that card.
Nope.
It's still doing some stuff. People are still playing it. It's nowhere near as like you're pretty much just taken hostage, right? Like you
just don't
do
get
they
to
have
play. You'd concede, yeah.
And sometimes they didn't have it, so you'd have to wait.
Yep.
And you'd wait, and you'd wait.
6 turns later, all right, I guess I'll play.
And then sometimes 6 turns later, it's like, oh, well, they just took 6 turns in a row.
Yep.
No longer.
Like I know that there are enjoyers out there of Open the Waygate, but I'm not one of them. For me, it's been one of the more frustrating decks to play against. So I will take it as a win.
See, I was always in the camp where I would just concede for the mental, right? They were going
Yep.
off, and then you'd go through, and it's like, okay, well, he's going to play 7 turns, and if he doesn't have it, like, his deck's built to beat me. If he's not going to do it in 7 turns, I might as well just save 15 minutes.
Yeah, same.
Does
And,
it not work with Parrot anymore if it's only once per game?
Oh, so Parrot only does like what was it, 6 and above now, Hydra?
Oh,
Parrot
never
already
mind.
doesn't
Yeah.
have it though.
Is it Vargoth that you used to use still, or was it something else? Did you have something else that got printed?
Yeah, something else got printed. Romath, Arch, something Romath.
Yeah, Romath.
Basically, it would play all the cards that didn't start in your deck. It would
Gotcha.
replay them, and then of course you could use the Potion of Illusion. If you
Yeah.
put Potion of Illusion in your ETC, so basically a sideboard, so you put it in your deck, but it counts as not being put in your deck. So it would play the Potion of Illusion, so you could play another Romath, which would then put another 1 mana Romath back in your hand, and you could play that Romath, and you can see how they would get multiple
Yeah.
turns quite
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah, and like I don't know, I don't think there's anything wrong with being a quest mage enjoyer, but it's like one of those things. Like I don't know, like this Open the Waygate's been a nuisance for a very long time, and you've had your time with it. Like you did it. Find a new thing to enjoy.
So y'all were saying that you would just concede for the mental. Totally get it. I play on mobile a lot, so what I would do is I just put
Oh,
it
go do
down,
something.
wash some dishes. I
Yeah.
come back. Sometimes it's like I'm roping them, and I'm like, "Oops."
Yeah.
Sometimes
Uh-oh.
I'd come back, and I'd be like, my character would have exploded. Oh well.
Yeah. There's I think that's actually a really interesting discussion that you guys should do an episode on it. I'm like surviving in card games, keeping your mental. Because I think like what Danny said is like a really important thing. Is like if you're in a matchup that's going to tilt you, sometimes it's worth just conceding. And like I think that's one thing that I really like about Marvel Snap specifically is it doesn't penalize you for conceding games like that because the way that the games work are different.
You're actually kind of rewarded, right?
Yeah. So if you're in a
lose, get
matchup,
out.
yeah, and there's some like if you hate playing against aggro priest and you never want to play it against it again, like sometimes just conceding is the right thing to do. I don't know.
And all you do is lose 1 cube. It's fine.
Yep.
I will say if I can interject for 2 seconds, I think the one thing about Snap that was that was like actually really healthy for my mental, like in Hearthstone, like I had everything, like complete collection for years, and then I started making golden decks, and like what it was like, I just every time they'd sell something, like I just buy it, and it was super expensive, and then they started printing these like signature cards, right? That were like the pull rates were super low, or they just charged like $100 for one. And then they did that one where it was like you had to win the heroic Brawlseum to get that one portrait, right? The Blood Knight.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was really frustrating to me to be like, I can't get all the stuff. Like I've had everything for years, and I can't get all the stuff anymore. And then moving over to Snap, and like that game is set up where like you can't have all the stuff.
Yeah, it's
you just can't. Or like even if you have all the cards, there's variant artwork for like all of them, and it really is like if you have all the stuff, you're going to spend $1 bazillion, like no joke. And so in my mind, I think actually it was kind of healthy to have to tell myself like you cannot have all the stuff, and you have to be okay with that. And I was like, I was a struggle at first, and I've got better with it over time. But like, I think that was a struggle. Like I spent like tons of money on Hearthstone, kind of feeling like I need it all. Or like you get this deck and like 28 of the cards are gold, and you're like, all right, here goes.
It actually, the way that Marvel Snap monetized things, it got me thinking in a different space than when I was playing Hearthstone. Because similarly, right, with Wild, I had the entire collection. I could build any deck. So I would go through and be like, all right, I'm going to build the most optimal deck that I can go through and to beat the meta. I'm going to go through and do that. But with Marvel Snap, it was kind of along the lines of, all right, I have this collection of cards. Well, how can I go through and build like to take advantage of the stuff that I actually have? So I thought that was interesting, where it just changed the way that I played the game itself.
Their collection system and their monetization is kind of trash, but
I think the collection system is fine. I think the monetization portion is the issue, right? I think that if you go through and everyone was on a slow drip, or there are a number of things. I've thought a number of different ways they could solve it, but they're not great on that.
No, I mean, I enjoy the game. I love the game. It's one of those where like I started playing and cool, we had infinite in every season. Like, but I'm able to play it super casually, and I got stuck in that Hearthstone mentality of like I need my 11x bonus, like, and playing like started getting stressful. So I'm just trying to stay in that like healthy mindset.
Yeah.
That's why I had to quit playing on 3 servers plus another account.
Yeah, that's crazy, dude.
I did that for so many years, which is funny because it dates back. If I look at my collection from when I started doing Asia and EU, like I had going back to Mysterious Challenger and Cthulhu and everything on those accounts, and I was doing it since then, which is crazy like to me that I was doing it for so long. And it would I've mentioned this on the show before, I'd be like, okay, I can't go to sleep tonight because I gotta run out to my computer and I gotta make sure I do my dailies, right? Like,
yeah.
And like on these, basically at the time it was 4, because it was NA, EU, Asia, but then I also had started another one with a different Google account, and it was like a habit. Like I had to do it, and it was crazy. And then I also couldn't lose stars, so I needed to hold like a 9 or 10x on all of them at all the time, which was kind of crazy because if you get below 10x, it's so much harder to hit legend, right? So it was this thing that I couldn't stop doing. And I'm so glad that so now I just play NA on my regular, Hydralisk account. But yeah, I just couldn't stop doing it.
But we finally got you to kick the habit.
Yeah.
Well, Floop's Glorious Gloop also kicked something.
Oh.
The bucket.
Yeah. This deck's been around, the card's been around since Boomsday, right?
Yeah. I used to love that card.
Yeah. Well, so in
I have it
a
in
recent
gold.
patch, they changed the way that mana works slightly. And that is in such a way where if you coin when you have 10 mana, you have 11 mana.
Mm-hmm.
Which means that the way that Floop's Glorious Gloop used to work, whenever a minion dies this turn, gain 1 mana crystal this turn only, you could get up to 50, 60, 70 mana.
Oh, wow.
Because that was always the struggle in the deck, is like doing the math of like not getting too much mana at too early.
So they also had this Forbidden Fruit card. Cost 0, but it spent all of your mana and gave your hero that much attack. So Floop's Glorious Gloop, you would get 50, 60, 70 mana, and then you'd fruit it all away into your attack, and you'd...
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Hey, did they ever nerf
they
Guff?
changed it? They did at one point, but whenever he was still in Standard... Whenever you would gain a mana crystal, it wouldn't be for that turn. So, yeah. So that deck would, in fact, run Guff as well, because you would start with, if you start from 20 and are gaining mana from there, it just keeps on going up. So.
Sounds like Druid doing Druid things.
And now this is one less Druid thing that it just won't be able to gloop us anymore.
Yeah, it seems. I mean, that seems like a reasonable, like the way the card should work with the new mana system. I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And finally, we've got Snowfall Graveyard. So Mine Rogue, and I believe that was around in y'all's days as well. So. Mm-hmm. Relied heavily on Snowfall Graveyard, the not a location aura type effect. Was 3 mana, now it's 5. Your death rattles trigger twice. This lasts 3 turns. They came out with a something Skulker card that you could equip your Necrium Blade, do 1 swing, and then so you only have one swing left. Skulker would take your weapon. And then the death rattles, it would give it back. Well, if Graveyard's active, it gives it back, and then it gives it back again. And since it overwrites the previous one, then the death rattle on Necrium Blade goes off twice.
Yep.
And then you swing, and it goes off twice again. And every time it goes off, then the mine that was on the field would go off twice per effect of the Necrium Blade. So it would... Yeah. Turn 4.
Wow.
Super consistently on turn 5. High roll was 4, So they nerfed Snowfall Graveyard from 3 mana to 5 mana.
I love me some Necrium Blade, though. I am a Necrium enjoyer. I love me some big rogue.
Oh, Monsters Behind You a while ago was actually nerfed itself.
Yeah.
Craig did a great parody song on that, actually.
He did.
Like he came in out of the blue, like retired and did a song on it. You remember that? That was great.
Yes.
So good too.
I'll put it in the chat. I think it was
it's called like Nerf Me or something.
It's a Queen song, right?
Don't stop me now.
Nerf me.
Hey, you're here. What?
He's back.
I love it.
It was Don't Nerf Me Now, right?
Yeah. It's so good. It's so good.
Just a 4-mana 3/3.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one.
That's
That's
great
the one.
Song.
It was. Well, welcome back, Craig.
I'll be honest, I was just laying in bed listening. I was like, I get to listen live, so I'm gonna listen in here. But I was just reminiscing because I finally got home, and I just wanted to say two other things that I really loved about the show. Sorry for interjecting. I think that me and Nate we really killed it with episode titles back in the day. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite ones is Shutterwalk, Murloc, Reno, Free Shaman with Danny Donuts.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Catchy. And then one more heartfelt moment, and then I'm going to go back onto muted. Is when me and Nate started Into the Wild. I completely forgot about this. Like, I think the main goal for the show was like eventually me and Nate are going to hit legend. Like that was kind of our idea.
Yeah.
And I think episode like 10 I hit legend, like episode 11 Nate hit legend. So I was like, oh well, there goes the end game. So
I remember coaching you guys through that. I remember that was right when Naga Giants was out. So I was coaching you guys through playing that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. I remember. It was so much fun. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say, and I'm gonna go back onto mute and just enjoy this show.
Thank you.
Shucks.
Maybe if I'm still away, if I don't fall asleep, maybe I'll be back to get some advice before the end of the show.
Yeah. What's everyone's first legend deck? What was your very first legend?
Before I go, I'll just say I got there with Murloc Paladin the first time.
Okay, love it.
I did it with Egg Paladin. You guys remember that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
All right, I was boring and I did Face Hunter back in the old days.
Oh yeah.
Old days. Wow. Okay. Yeah.
But what I did do was I switched over to Dragon Druid for my final game, so I could post on Twitter that I got to Legend with Dragon Druid.
I like that.
Yeah.
Cheap.
The bait. I love it. I love
my
it.
first wild one was with Mech Paladin, but it was one that I made myself and was really proud of that one. And then my first standard was a little bit before that, but it was the Shirvala and Uther OTK. So to where you had like the Uther OTK as one option and the Shirvala as the other.
Okay.
But you'd only really use the like Uther one if like you couldn't do the Shirvala one anymore or vice versa. Matchup dependent.
Yeah.
That was way more big brain than it should have been for my first legend, but
Yeah, mine was not big brain. So my first standard legend would be Pirate Warrior, and it is also my first wild legend. Is also Pirate Warrior.
A gentleman, a true gentleman, right there.
consistent deck,
Yep.
consistent guy.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember my first standard was Aggro Shaman. When it was really good with the totem guy. What was his? Not,
The
well, it had
Thunder
totem
Bluff?
golem. Yeah, the one that would summon a random totem, and you would just win when you play it. Sometimes, like
Is
you
that
get-
Tuskar Totemic?
That
Yeah,
was
Tuskar
Tuskar,
Totemic. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was when they just came out with that card. I was like, this doesn't seem fair, and it wasn't. So that was like an afternoon legend. My first wild legend was, and it was just to prove how broken it was. It was Pirate Warrior, like early Pirate Warrior, because I'm like, I can get it legend in like 2 days with this deck, and it was just like 3 wins. I think my favorite legend though was Star Aligner Druid. Wild Star Aligner Druid.
That was so fun.
That was
Yeah.
my
Wow.
favorite legend I ever hit. So fun. That deck was dumb fun.
I remember we did the card reviews for that, and we were going about Psych Melon. We're like, oh, maybe there's some crazy thing that'll happen, and it ended up being the most broken card of the set.
Yep.
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 Mhm.
And we're like, oh, this card might be fringe playable. It's like, oh crap, it's insane.
I can't believe how long some of the card reviews actually went. There was one of the times, Danny, that you were on, and I remember we started the card review at 6 or 7 p.m. Pacific time, and then the sun actually set and then rose.
That was my first time on the show. Was that card review as a guest? Was that card review?
That's messed up.
My
Yeah.
entire weekend was gone.
Yeah, same.
Yep. I remember those days. Wow.
I love it.
Yeah.
So,
Not sorry.
I like how, and this is the chaos of there being more than 3 people on the podcast. We've fully derailed talking about the balance patch like 5 or 6 times.
We're done talking about the balance patch, so we're not coming back to that. We are like we finished all the.
It's a
the
Necroom
wild
blade
stuff.
in my mind. Like it made me open. I'll be honest. Thinking about Big Rogue made me reopen the client. I'm looking at BattleNet. Well, because I play Battlegrounds every morning. Like that's my game. Like when I'm getting
cool.
stuff done in the morning, I hang out with my parrot and I play on my iPad and let him terrorize the house. And I play a lot of Battlegrounds.
They recently came out with Battlegrounds duos, which I haven't played at all yet, but
I'll play duos with you.
I'll duo with you any day.
Yeah, and I have all these quests I need to do duos for, so look at that. We could be getting quests done together. It's like the old days of questing with my pals.
What was the questing adventure voice line?
Give me a quest.
Give me a quest.
Give me a quest.
Quest accepted.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in Hearthstone these days. Does it feel like the Wild of old with like time warp changing, gloop changing? Like, does it kind of feel
broken?
Surprisingly, no. Huh.
Yeah, what's broken right now?
Yeah, what's broken?
Pirate Rogue is broken right now. That treasure distributor buff, like,
I'm okay with
it
that.
may have been a little much.
That's always been one of my favorite decks, man.
I always thought that aggro being a strong deck was the strongest deck was good because you could play control and you could try to beat aggro specifically for it. If you were going through and it was a combo deck that was broken, then you would ultimately go through and it was too degenerate when combo decks got broken.
Yeah.
Combo decks are frequently broken too. Hence the Snowfall Graveyard nerf.
All right, so if I want to get back into Wild, so I open the client. I've got 49,000 gold.
Okay.
I have
Low for
326 packs to open.
Okay.
Oh wow.
And
Okay.
I have I hit the wrong. I keep
How
every time,
many?
and this is like how I'm trained. What?
How many packs?
326.
How does that happen?
So I have been gifted a few sets from people who like.
Oh, they
Just-
love you.
Yeah, they're like from when I stopped doing like they're all old packs because they're big. People gift me the set from when I was doing content creation. I'm like, please don't do this, and they're like, oh, I don't care. Like, here's the set in case you want to play. Like, trying to get me to play, which has not happened. So yeah, and then for dust, I've got 46,000 dust.
Okay, I think you can probably craft a budget deck with that. Yeah.
So
can make-
that's low for Wild.
Yeah, that's nothing. So we can make Pirate Rogue.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you probably didn't need any of that to make Pirate Rogue, but yes.
Wait, hold on though. Incorrect, because every card does have to be gold. So Nate and I
okay,
have
fine.
this in common.
Yep.
Yep, I love my gold cards. I gotta be shiny.
Yeah, we be whales.
Schmoopy, will you give us the since I know that Schmoopiedady is in chat, will you slide us the Pirate Rogue deck, por favor? Thank you. My Schmoopiedady is our decretary, by the way.
Yep, good.
Oh, I'm reinstalling.
And it's funny, like when I was going to try and find how much dust I had, every time I'd get to the menu, I just click Battlegrounds instinctively. So I'm like, oh wait, that's not where my collection is. I forgot where to find my collection.
Yes. This was not our intention, but I would be lying if I, didn't say that it made me really happy to hear that y'all are gonna sleeve up a constructed deck.
I mean,
Yeah.
if Pirate Rogue is good, how could I not?
I know. It's a guilty pleasure. I love Rogue. I like Priest, Rogue, and Warlock are probably like when they're good, they make me happy. So because like I was always a Reno enjoyer, so Reno Lock and Reno Priest were just like my go-to everything. And then when they printed all the good dragons for Priest, because the guy with Dragon Roast Coffee is my business, of course. I'm a dragon stan. So like what was was it Duskbreaker, the deal 3 damage guy? That was like my addiction for months. And so Dragon Priest and then Reno Dragon Priest. I think that's like the only wild deck I still have built. Probably terrible now, but like
Oh, I play terrible decks all the time. I'm sure you'll be mine.
That's the way to play. It's fun.
So
Right.
what is this about Schmoopiedady having a video?
Hello, it's me, Schmoopiedady. This time, sans hair horns. Congrats to Born to Be Wild on your 200th episode. I'm sorry I can't be there tonight to celebrate with the rest of the boys, but I had a family trip that we planned long in advance, and this just happened to have some unfortunate timing. It feels weird that I'm also congratulating myself in that statement, but as Hydra kind of points out, despite me sort of feeling like I am still the new guy and not really a full cast member yet, I've been hanging around the pod since episode 36. So, okay, congrats to me too, I guess. But tonight really feels more like a celebration of guys like Nate, Craig, Danny, and Saucy Mailman, who put in the blood, sweat, and tears to keep the podcast going when, through the times where it could have packed it up and packed it in. And to that extent, I'd also like to thank Sheep and Hydra, not only for bringing me on in an official capacity, but also holding the pod to the same level and quality that Nate left it at, including requiring us to learn some new skills. Lastly, thank you to the listeners, not only for hanging in for 200 episodes of Born to Be Wild, but also for the show's previous iterations, if you've been following them. I hope that everyone enjoys what is an important celebration of the pod tonight. And also, rest in Piddle Quest Mage, you won't be missed. Take care.
So that was Schmoopiedady's contribution. He has been actually super instrumentational, like in being on this podcast for the last while, and he is definitely one of the team members and doing amazing. So thank you, Schmoopiedady.
Nice. I'm sorry you couldn't be here tonight.
Yeah, same. And just remind me of which Ziliax modules I should use.
I think you want Ticking and Pylon.
Sweet, perfect, good. Not that I'm doing that right now. Okay, that's what I have. Perfect. Anyways,
Excellent.
saved.
Could you maybe put that in the chat so that I can not forget it?
Yeah, I got you.
Are you guys ready? Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's do it.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 200.
300 if you include Into the Wild.
4 years ago, a bunch of celebrities got together
To make the cringiest, least self-aware video compilation that I've ever seen in my life.
And to celebrate episode 200,
We've decided to do the same thing.
imagine there's no wild.
It's easy if you must.
no more rotation.
Old cards turn to dust.
Imagine all the archetypes.
We could never play.
Imagine there's no big priest.
It isn't hard to do.
There'd be no even shaman.
No more Gen or Baku.
Imagine all the cool days
We would never see.
Boo-hoo-hoo.
You may say that I'm a boomer.
Because my patches, he had charge.
I'm in charge now.
My druid deck would kill you.
stars.
Imagine no connection.
I wonder if you can.
No need phone calls from Black Rock.
No cards when I log in.
Imagine there's no wild.
Sharing all the world. You
may say I'm a DJ,
But I'm not the only one.
I hope more players will join us.
and Wild will always live on.
Thanks, guys. Let's get through this together.
Congrats on 200 episodes, guys.
Born to be Wild, congratulations on 200 episodes. Fantastic. Love it. 200's a lot. Keep going for another 100.
I'm not crying. You're crying.
I'm not
awesome.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Good job, guys.
That was great.
And there was even
Well-
the Star Aligner druid reference.
I know.
Right.
Right into my heart.
I know, Saucy, when you said that, I was like, oh, just wait. You'll see.
Yeah, so good.
Thank you, everybody. In all honesty, this could not have happened without, like, all of you. So, Danny, Nate, Saucy, Sheep, Craig, all of you have contributed to this whole thing absolutely so much. So just thank all of you.
Of course, this is Born to be Wild is a community focused Hearthstone podcast. So we also would not be here if it weren't for the community. I mean,
Yeah.
Schmoopiedady is there's a reason why he is one of our hosts. It's because of the community. Like, we can't thank each and every one of you enough.
Now, this wouldn't be an episode of Born to be Wild without...
And now, Unrelated Advice with Nate Wolfe. Nate, I come here a humble man. In fact, one of the most humble men I've ever known. And I ask you, if you needed to be at some sort of event for, say, a podcast that means a lot to you, how would you make sure you get there on time and know when you're recording?
You know, I think that we have friends for a reason, and so I'd probably just go about my business and rely on my buddies to give me a call and remind me.
Believe in the power of friendship.
That's right. That's right. And I think, you know, screw it. We'll do it live.
Yep.
Amazing. I almost tried to end the episode just now out of habit, because back in the day I'd go, wiser words have never been spoken, and you heard that. I'm bored to be wild.